confused, paranoid, misunderstand me, delusion, misled with vanity. Yeah, once in a while, coming after me. You make up bad thoughts, making reality. Make a break, jump the shark, burn apples, make it dark. Standing here all alone, collectively on our own. We stood here all alone, collectively on our own. We stood here all alone, collectively on our own. Say anything at all. Yeah, I'm the sucker. Surely believe it all. Yeah, one is not the same anyway. Day after day after day, then day after day after day after day after day after day after day. Make a break, jump the shark, burned up love, make it dark. Standing here all alone, collectively on our own. We stood here all alone, collectively on our own. We stood here all alone, collectively on our own. I won't, no, I won't. This effort here is all I got. I have already will use a lot. What's left to what's left to what's left? The sunrise tomorrow forever. The sunrise tomorrow forever. It's over, it's over, it's over. Make a break, jump the shark, burn up up, make it dark. Standing here we're all alone, collectively on our own. We stood here all alone, collectively on our own. We stood here all alone, collectively on our own.
That was Red Hot Santana. This one's called Satisfied. Right now, Professor, seems damn
so free. If you stand up, you're bound to take lashes. If you never bleed, do you really have passion? How far must we travel? Which line should we blur? How can you be satisfied being so absurd? Are you satisfied? Trivial water being nothing but led to the slaughter. Are they satisfied? Those inner demons by forcing others to bend to your feelings. How far must we travel? Which line do we blur? How can you be satisfied being so absurd? Satisfied. How can you be satisfied? Satisfied. How can you be I won't let you get away and leave behind this travesty. You'll be taken to task eventually, and I'll be there to watch you pay. How far must we travel? Which line should we blur? How can you be satisfied being so absurd? Satisfied. How can you be satisfied? Satisfied. How can you be satisfied?
Thanks. This one's Wrangled.
Thanks for tuning in, y'all. We can make it. We can make it. No need to take it. Make it out to the street. Take it out to the streets. Ain't nothing left for me. At least what I can see. Stuck down to depths so deep. Down in the deep, deep, deep. We can make it. We can make it. Don't need to take it. Won't you come back to me? Won't you come back to me? The end is getting clear to see. It's narrowing down on me. I find that I'm in so deep. Won't you come back to me? We can make it. We can make it. This ain't what life ain't done. Struggling on the line. Physical construct of time. Second guess me once or twice. And everything ain't laid out tonight. Hanging till the end of days. Left down for the grave. Left down for the grave.
So you can follow us on Instagram and Facebook and all that at The Bind Rocks. Okay? At The Bind Rocks. Boo.
Dirty can of worms, you'll find out quickly. You get no return. Push yourself too far. You get no return. Then you're broken, burned out with no return. Birds are little hot dinosaurs. Science is alive. The moon could be a hologram. Oh yeah. Once you open up that dirty can of worms, you'll find out quickly. You get no return. Push yourself too far. You get no return. Then you're broken, burned out with no return. The sea used to be dirt. Oh yeah. Don't you open up that dirty can of worms, you'll find out quickly. You get no return. Push yourself too far. You get no return. Then you're broken, burned out with no return. Once you open up that dirty can of worms, you'll find out quickly. You get no return. Push yourself too far. You get no return. Then you're broken, burned out with no return.
That was Apples and Oranges, the title track off of our EP that came out this year. So check that out. The Bind, Apples and Oranges. Search that. You'll find it everywhere.
we're back with Between the Notes with Motif Magazine, filmed at the Parlour, and we're talking to the Bind. And we also want to thank our sponsors real quick, R1 Entertainment Center in Lincoln and Trinity Beer Garden in Providence. Good places to drink or drive cars really quickly if you ever are in the mood for that.
But don't do both at the same time.
Right. So thank you for coming out today, guys, and thank you for performing to a empty studio. Have you gotten out much since bands started being allowed to perform again?
We've done a couple of gigs. A couple of gigs in Boston. That's where we usually play. We just did one in New York too for a podcast called In Hot Water, and that was pretty cool. It's kind of the same thing, just a studio with no one else really in it, just a couple of people and a bunch of noise. Yeah.
Right.
But it's a little tough since the whole thing. But what do? You just keep going,
Yeah.
We wrote an album.
You wrote an album.
Well,
yeah.
we waited.
So let's talk. What would you compare your album to?
Oh yeah, me. All right.
Can you compare an album called Apples and Oranges to anything?
Well, that was kind of the point.
Is it-
It was the point of the song, which turned into the album. But no, we call ourselves just a rock and roll band. We can fall into some traps of three-piece rock and roll bands, and people find comparisons in us that surprise us sometimes. But it always comes back to they're fishing for a three-piece to compare us to. So what my answer to most people is usually not to compare us to Primus, but what would you call Primus?
Okay.
Is how do you define that? They get heavy, they get crazy, they get real trippy, and we did just new songs tonight, but in some of our older catalog, there's a lot more space and there's a lot more exploration sometimes.
Okay.
But with our new album, we really focused on being more aggressive, focused on what we were doing, and we really concentrated on the vocals, which was something we kind of tossed off when we were younger.
Alright.
The fact that the song supported the vocals. But I'm gonna start talking in
Cool.
circles if somebody doesn't take this
Yeah.
from me.
So how about? Actually, we didn't even do your names. So why don't you tell us who each of you is?
I'm Lucas.
E.R. You is.
I'm Brian.
I'm Ryan.
All right. So Brian and Lucas, what are some of your influences that went into the music for Apples and Oranges, or before that?
Influences. Well, I mean, again, like you said, what we do naturally is jam. You know what I mean? That's kind of where we started as a band. We were in another band together, and sometimes we would, maybe the other member wouldn't be there, we'd jam, we'd go, that sounds pretty good. So most of the songs that we have now, especially on this new album, come from that source, but then we kind of mine it through. So it's kind of weird because we're not a typical jam band. We're not Fish. We're not Grateful Dead. We don't sound like that, but we are, in essence, a jam band that took the pieces and went, you know what? Cut. There it is. So, I mean, we've all got eclectic influences, and I think, some people think we sound kind of like 70s rock. Some people think we sound like grunge. One girl said we sound like Southern rock. Remember that? Yeah, online. So, again, it's like all those influencers are in all of us. So it's just a mashup, really, whatever we feel. It's more like feel. We're just going and we just, hey, man, there we go. There's something, so let's work with it. So that's why it's hard to define. I mean, I'm into all kinds of rock, just rock. So whatever's out there, it might show up a little bit in here,
Cool.
What do I think? Yeah. Well,
Where are you coming from? We don't ever ask you what you're coming from.
where I'm coming
Well,
from?
who do you look to?
Oh man. Oh, drummers. Yeah. Drummers. That's my influence. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Liberty DeVito, my favorite drummer. Bonham, all those guys. But we don't. Like he was saying, we're a jam band to begin with, but we don't jam on stage. When we go through a jam, we said, all right, that's the parts we're using, and we refine everything, and then that's it. We never go along. We know where they start,
You
we
don't
know
have-
where they end, and whatever we do in the middle doesn't matter to us.
So
You
this
know.
is similar to what one would find on your album.
It's almost, yeah.
Very much, yes.
It's probably the same amount of time too.
Uh-huh.
You know, we're that aware on stage. Like I was telling you earlier, like volume, timing, how fast we go between songs. We pay attention to all that stuff.
Yeah.
How long
Because
it takes Lucas to drink his water?
yeah, well, that's part of our show.
That's
You know,
that's a timing element.
We've done
Why
a
not?
lot of shows where you just watch a band kind of mingle on the stage, waiting for something to happen, and we're totally self-aware up here. You know, how
that gives us anxiety if we're like
too much dead time. Yeah.
15 seconds to us of dead air is like whoa,
Mhm.
whoa.
So we even limit how much he gets to talk on stage.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Is that a challenge?
We have
Oh,
to. Yeah, we have to because he'll just go.
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Silence
He
is
gets
like
the click
yeah,
off sometimes.
Yeah. We're looking for a pedal for his microphone. That we can just shut
I
him
could
off
do it, but it's too,
when
it's
he's
too
just
much
on
work.
stage. But we're loose when we write. When we perform, we get really tight with each other. So that's
Unless
kind of how
we've hung on a
How-
couple times from the jam aspect, we are able to hang on when things get a little out of hand.
go off the rails.
How long have you been performing together? Nice.
Technically, I mean,
On and off for 20 years. Yeah, about that.
Okay.
This project has to have logged at least 10 years between stints from,
Yeah, and then we did the cover band.
you know, while we were
Okay.
still young, borderline
All right.
kids to.
Yep.
Yeah.
And has your dynamic changed over the years, do you think?
You know what? I think we might have been more dynamic when we were younger. I think we were more willing to just kind of,
We tried to be fancier,
Okay.
yeah. So,
put
so
effort into being fancy, and I think that's
yeah, but now I think we're just,
having fun.
we know what we sound like.
Mhm.
We know what we sound best playing like. And however they come out, that's
go with it.
basically, we just kind of roll with it.
and I think part of it too is like you said, when we wrote these new songs, when we got back together. Actually, we got back together in 2018, and we had taken a break from the original stuff for about 12 years,
Oh, wow.
something like
All right.
that. We had a cover band in between that, and he was
Mhm.
doing a solo project I played in, and he was doing some other bands I played in.
Mhm.
So we all, again, together we've all kind of played a long, long time, and we were more eclectic back in the day because I think we were trying to find a sound, and then now because we want to be aggressive, because we want the show to be up. You know, we used to do songs that were a little slower, a little jazzier maybe, and in
Yep.
certain places that doesn't work so well because the set just kind of goes "Rrrt,"
Uh-huh.
and people lose that energy, and we
You
want
wanna
to
be
keep it
high
up,
energy,
up,
yeah,
up.
yeah.
You know.
Cool. You we were talking earlier about lyrics. Tell me where do the lyrics come from for your originals?
I can't
What's
wait
your-
to hear this.
Well, so our old songs were a lot of his songs that he had pre-written, and we learned the songs. Songs that he had written, songs that we jammed that Ryan had done. He kind of just, I don't know how he comes up with his lyrics, but you know, it's one of those. All these new songs, most of the lyrics weren't pre-done. You know, again, we just sort of, hey, this is what it sounds like, except for the chorus in Apples and Oranges. Well, the chorus I had kind of half written before, and it was part of another song, and but it changed from what it was. So, and Apples and Oranges was interesting because that song came together in like a couple of rehearsals. We went, ooh, that sounds cool. And then he comes up with the idea, hey, why don't we just have a song that's like opposites, you know, comparing apples to oranges. And then we literally improv the lyrics in rehearsal, and it pretty much stayed that way, you know. So, you know,
One shot?
yeah, well,
Well, because we record everything, we can just be like, okay, let's go back and listen to that. And it's like, listen to this ridiculousness. This sounds great. And we're just gonna. And we
Uh-huh.
tried to write other words, much to his chagrin. And we pretty much went back to almost exactly what we did on the original, just making it up, going by the seat of our pants because it's funny and it's ridiculous.
All right.
But I used to try to write poetry, try to do a lot of that stuff in high school, and then just after high school, rock and roll. So I didn't care too much, and that's what I mean about the first time around. The lyrics were almost an afterthought. I like double entendres, so my lyrics are just filled with a lot of you figure it out.
Okay.
But-
Give any examples? Can you think of any?
Not in the new stuff as much.
Okay.
In some of the old stuff, it's a lot of, I can be dirty sometimes, but it's up to you. If you have a dirty mind, you hear the dirty thing. If you don't
Okay.
have a dirty mind, you don't.
Dirty
hear the
optional.
dirty thing.
Okay.
So it's just things like that, but. I thought. But yeah, so that's no real crazy method other than I shutting myself up with I gotta write this many songs worth of words
Okay.
and just scribble away for a few days. I mean, they'll change right up till I'm recording them, and if I'm recording them and they're not working, they're still gonna change. But
Nice. All right.
that's 'cause
But
we
you
want-
all do generate. You each generate lyrics, like you all write them, or yeah.
I didn't write any lyrics for this album. So it used to be that I wrote lyrics for Lucas to sing. And then Ryan would sing his own lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got into this terrible writer's block that
Okay.
I've just not been able to.
Is that? Are you
Right.
still there now?
Yeah, I think so, but there was no pressure on me this time because he wrote his own lyrics and
Uh-huh.
then he wrote his own lyrics. And I came back to this band like, I'm cool just being the drummer. Like, I don't really need to do anything else.
Hence
I'm
the
happy.
singing.
I don't sing anymore. I don't
Right.
write. I mean, if I get a chance to write the lyrics, I'm going to. But with this one, I didn't have to. And I was cool with that. There was no
you're
pressure.
happy.
I was like, yeah,
All right.
sound good. None of them make any sense to me, but that's all right. I didn't write them.
Do they make sense to you guys?
I think so.
You
I don't know.
okay? All right.
I hope so.
It matters if they make sense to you.
Okay.
Exactly.
Maybe word.
Well, I'm already in dirty optional land, so
Right.
I've got my own interpretations.
Well, it would help because when
Everything you did.
Because when somebody's like, "Hey, what does that mean?" and everyone's
Yeah.
like, "It can mean whatever you want
What's
it to
it mean to
mean."
you?
Okay.
All right.
What's it mean to you?
Nice.
Well, we learned to compromise in the band on when we don't see eye to eye, we just work around it and we know what's going to bait each other into something. So we just stay away from it. And that's kind of, the lyrics come from that too, is we don't
Okay.
I don't want to piss him off with what I'm singing
Uh-huh.
up in front of him. He can chuck sticks at my head if he feels like it.
That comes with age.
Or water bottles.
Yeah.
But that comes with age. Too. There was a lot of trying to be the leader back in the day.
Okay.
Like there was always this like somebody's got to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then as we got older, we came back together and we're like, well, it's kind of nonsense, really. I mean,
Yeah.
so now we just kind of like, we know each other's triggers. We know what it is that gets everybody frustrated. So we just
Uh-huh.
kind of avoid that. It makes we play better.
Yeah.
We get along better. We're a better
Alright.
band because of that. We try to avoid the conflict that we know we used to find in each
That's-
other.
that's
And
great.
that's age, maturity. Having
Okay.
kids, you just kind of like
Whoa.
settle down a little bit.
Mature. Whoa.
Yeah.
You know,
No,
two of us
Sounds like
two of us
delightfully-
made it there.
Okay.
He's fighting.
One of us
He's-
one of us is pulling up the rear over here. Yeah, it's all right.
Well, I mean, it's
That's cool.
Pulling up the rear really with this guy. Oh,
With-
okay. Dirty optional.
dirty optional. Exactly.
That was
Too obvious for you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
You
yeah,
want-
actually.
it was too obvious.
face.
It was too obvious for everybody. Except for
You want
And
your
I
rear
had-
a little more subtle.
I had to get the low fruit.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about the bind. Where did you guys come up with that name? And this, in our internal communications, this got typoed and it turned into the band in one spreadsheet
Oh.
and the blind in another spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. People have said, "Hey, we
Morphing.
love you, the blind." Yeah, I've heard that.
Okay.
Remember how this started? How we got the name?
I believe Ryan just looked in a book.
We found it in a book.
Just pretty much opened and pointed to something in a book.
Was it a book or a binder?
Oh no, it was a book.
Okay.
It was a straight up, just like probably a book my dad had taken from high school.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, and we went. You know what? It's short. It's easy to remember, I guess. Although it might get a little mixed up here and
Okay.
there. But what's funny is that now, because we've been together so long, it does kind of describe us because we've been friends for so long, and we played we even worked at the same company for at least 8 years all together. You know, so
Really?
we're just
Okay.
very close. And
Don't do that.
Not good.
yeah, it might have caused a little animosity.
Do not do that.
Don't
That did
co-work
not-
with your band members.
That did not play out well
All
for
right.
us. Yeah.
So I won't put you on the spot about what the company was, but what line of work do you share?
Well, that was manufacturing. I personally,
okay.
right now, I'm in between jobs. I'm a stay-at-home dad most of the time, but
Okay.
you know, I do have to get a part-time job soon. That was in but the job we worked at was manufacturing. So we're just in a
Okay.
shop together, you know, just talking and being crazy, listening to crazy music, and you know, stuff like that. Yeah. He still works.
And making some.
Say it. Just do it. Give them the spiel.
Huh? Oh, I make commercial doors and storefronts.
Okay.
That's what we did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when you walk through this place.
Yeah.
Well, not this place.
Uh,
but wooden door.
I did
Yeah,
the
the
Hall
parlor
of,
has very cool doors that are kind of like a saloon.
I
but
did,
it's in-
I did the Hall of Fame at Patriot Place. All the glass
Oh.
work there.
Wow.
I
nice.
did that.
The Rhode Island Music Hall of Fame? Or
No,
which Hall of
New
Fame?
England Hall of Fame.
New England, okay.
Patriots Hall of Fame.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
sorry.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
All those big pieces of metal that hold the glass.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's basically, and
That's-
that's what we
that's
all
your-
did for a long time. But
And I delivered
Nice.
those.
it's a lot of time to spend, and there's just conflict. There was,
Huh?
you know, and that didn't help us.
Yeah.
But we've all separated.
And then you
Mhm.
can't get away from anything that perks up. That's the real problem. Is I know I got to see him or him
Huh.
tomorrow.
Yeah. And then you had apples and oranges. So how long did it take to make that album?
This was the first album. Usually when we used to record, they were terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Because we went in like, we're a three-piece. We're going to record as a three-piece, and we're going to record exactly the way we play everything. This time we went in with a producer,
Okay.
and we half knew these, and we allowed ourselves to learn them and refine them in recording. So we weren't, because some of these songs we would play for 18 months and then go record them.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
It's set.
you're not going to change that.
You know it pretty well
you
at that
know,
point. Yeah.
you know,
Oh, we had one engineer tell us that song's 7 minutes long.
yeah.
Like,
But this time we allowed somebody else to come in and direct us.
Okay.
Be like, maybe you shouldn't play that. Why don't you try to play it like this? I heard like bass drum masturbation. He's like, stop doing that. He's like, your bass drum is too busy. And it was like, I needed somebody finally to tell us that. Like, we needed somebody we trusted to be like, all right,
Stop.
don't do that.
It
Or-
so happened because of the
Huh.
pandemic, our buddy, who we all know, we've known since we were very young, was off of tour. And he was like, I got nothing to do with no money. I was like, okay, we got some money, we got something to do. And worked with him, did off hours, did whenever we could just to make it work. And he is who was producing us, and now he's gone again because the band he works with is just on the road, and he's here. I'm like, hey, you home? Nope, gone.
Ah, that's too bad.
But we lucked out. We got it all
But,
done.
yeah.
Got everything done.
And it's our best record. It is the best representation because we added guitar parts. Like, we play as a three-piece, but on this
Mhm.
album there's 4 or 5 parts. And when we were young, we were like, nah, we're not going to do that. If we can't play it on stage, we're not going to play it live.
Okay. All right.
This time we said, well, let's try to do something more commercial
Mm-hmm.
that we can.
You layered them, or did
Yeah.
you loop?
Yeah.
Or anything?
He did. Yeah,
Cool.
so they would
Well,
come
did-
in and the
did
vocals.
silly little percussion parts and just stuff that we never really.
No,
But
but
like, no, we can't do it on stage. We're not gonna.
yeah, but
Uh-huh.
it made a difference to the quality of the and it's paid off for us.
Nice.
That we went in and actually said, all right, we're gonna go pro level with this. We're gonna really concentrate and do what they. Wouldn't let us get away with that. He's like, no, sing it again.
All
Play it
right.
again.
He pushed you.
Sing it again. If you sing it again and it's worse, we'll keep the first one. But we'll
All right.
just keep doing it.
And that producer's name is John Farrell. Just
Okay.
put it out there. Writing this in like, I'd say around December of 2019, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously the pandemic happened. So then
Right.
we finished writing, I think,
Well, he became a focus after.
yeah, it became more focused. And I think we started recording in August. Yeah, August 2019. So then, I mean, yeah, 2020. And it didn't actually come out till May of this year. So it took a little bit of time.
Okay.
But like you said,
We started ramping back up.
So it's a fairly
Yeah,
new
the
release.
producer started going back out and touring a little bit here and there, so we had to kind of, he couldn't work on it all the time. But hey, he took as much time as he needed on it, and we like the product, and it's opening doors for us. So hey,
Sweet.
it's awesome,
All right. Yeah. Well, let's talk about some of the other doors it's opening. What do you guys have coming up? Besides chaos.
Yeah, jeez. Well, we are actually taking a little bit of a break because my wife's having our 4th child.
Okay. Wow.
So,
right.
don't have a show on the horizon at the moment, but we've got things brewing. We actually want to hit Providence because we've been playing Boston since we got together and in our area, which we're kind of more from like Taunton
Okay.
area. And so Providence seems like it's got something brewing down here. Like there's original bands, there's cool stuff going on. So we kind of we wanted to do this to kind of say, hey, we're here. We actually live closer to here than probably Boston anyway. So
Yeah, Taunton
it's easier to get people to come here because Boston can sometimes be like, some people don't. Oh, I don't want to sit in traffic. I don't want to. You it's a little tough sometimes. Yeah, we played up in Somerville last.
Oh, that's a suburb.
They
so-
didn't even have parking like at all. It was just-
All right.
But
Yeah, don't get Rhode Islanders started about parking. That's
Oh, jeez.
not a good conversational path. But
yeah, we're sending stuff out, trying to get more gigs. I mean,
Huh?
if there's any more podcasts, I think there was another podcast that records here too. That
13 Folds comes right after us.
okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, I emailed them too, so maybe we'll get on there at some point. But
Cool.
you
All
got something?
And all right. Well, thank you very much for your time. Let's tell whichever camera it is that he told you to look at how people can follow you, Instagram or Facebook or web or whatever you're on.
Yeah, we're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. It's at The Bind Rocks, and then our music is distributed all over. I mean, it's on, all the streaming places. We got. So if you search The Bind Apples and Oranges in your music streaming app, then you'll find us. It's there. Yeah, we only have a few physical ones. I mean, who wants a real CD anyway? Sometimes it's like tough to give it to people because I don't know where to put this anymore.
The guy who did all the artwork.
It needs a thumb drive. Well, those become the collector's items.
Exactly,
That's for the hardcore.
But yeah, at The Bind Rocks, then search The Bind Apples and Oranges, and it'll pop up. And we just did like a lyric video for Apples and Oranges not too long ago. That's up on YouTube, so check it out.
Okay.
Thank you guys.
Thank you for coming out. We've got Derek, Brian, and Ryan from The Bind.
Lucas. Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry.
right.
No, it's
sorry.
all right.
I'm sorry. Lucas. I was so focused on getting Brian and Ryan straight.
Well, yeah, that's all right.
So Lucas, Brian, and Ryan from The Bind.
What's funny is we used
coming
to
soon to a club near you.
we used to play with a guy named Derek, which
Oh.
that's what makes it hilarious.
All right. Well, the universe was messing with my subconscious there. All right, and this has been Between the Notes at the Parlour with Motif Magazine, sponsored by R1 Entertainment Center, which has axe throwing, go-karting, and time traveling, and also Trinity Beer Garden, which, if you handle that right, can also induce time traveling. So thanks very much, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.